Liberation Day is the day that Trump has designated April 2nd. He didn't want to do it on April 1st because he was saying that it could be taken as an April Fool's joke, which I played a couple of them myself. I'll talk about it on our next live stream. But Liberation Day, ladies and gentlemen, is the day that Trump has designated as when tariffs will start to go into effect to ensure that we are protecting American workers and we are protecting American industries and bringing back manufacturing back to the United States of America, while at the same time closing a trade deficit that we have with other countries. All right. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. This is Carolina, House Speaker, not the House Speaker, the Press Secretary, breaking down the importance of Liberation Day. And then we're going to go over to Trump and see what he has to say.
Looking ahead to tomorrow, April 2nd, 2025, will go down as one of the most important days in modern American history. Our country has been one of the most open economies in the world, and we have the consumer base hands down, the best consumer base. But too many foreign countries have their markets closed to our exports. This is fundamentally unfair. The lack of reciprocity contributes to our large and persistent annual trade deficit that's gutted our industries and hollowed out key workforces. But those days of America, beginning tomorrow, being ripped off are over. American workers and businesses will be put first under President Trump, just as he promised on the campaign trail. The president's historic action tomorrow will improve American competitiveness in every area of industry, reduce our massive trade deficits, and ultimately protect our economic and national security. President Trump's economic vision is rooted in common sense. America will offer companies the lowest taxes, energy costs, regulations, if they make their products right here in the United States and hire American workers for the job. It's simple. If you make your product in America, you will pay no tariffs. We have already seen a number of the largest companies in the world respond to this economic approach. For example, Project Stargate, led by Japan-based SoftBank and US-based OpenAI, and Oracle, announced a $500 billion private investment in the United States-based artificial intelligence infrastructure. Apple announced a $500 billion investment in US manufacturing and training. NVIDIA announced it will invest hundreds of billions of dollars over the next 4 years in US-based manufacturing. And the Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing company, TSMC, announced a $100 billion investment in US-based chips and manufacturing.
So essentially, we want to take control of emerging industries. We want to make our own chips here. We don't want to be dependent on Taiwan, which for a lot of you, you guys don't understand that one of the things that we were tying to immigration, the Department of Homeland Security, closing off our borders, was also funding over to Ukraine, Taiwan, and Israel. Well, a lot of people never asked why Taiwan was so big. It's because we were interdependent on them for chips and manufacturing, and we wanted to stave off the possibility of China then taking advantage of and taking over Taiwan. So ultimately, we were fighting a bunch of proxy wars to prevent other countries from catching up and taking over and having a greater impact on what's going on in their own technology. But more importantly, Liberation Day is a day that basically we are placing tariffs on any product that comes into the United States of America from other countries, but we don't benefit from it. That's really what it is. If we don't and we can't benefit from it, then why are we doing it? Why are we doing it to enrich other nations? Why are we not requiring for them to do the same thing that we are doing for them, right? Why do we have to partner with them in order to build products over and sell products over into their country? But they mandate, including China and other countries, they mandate, and just because they've been doing it for a long time doesn't mean that it's right. Mandate that we partner with them, mandate that we pay tariffs, mandate that we do certain things and meet obligations to be able to do business in their country. And that don't even have anything to do with exporting to their country. They can dump all of their steel, dump all of their aluminum that is subsidized by their governments. They can ship in all kind of parts and basically get rich off of American consumers, but don't have to invest anything inside of the United States of America, while basically destroying other businesses that are here because we can't compete when it comes to price, and also taking into consideration that we have to pay a much higher wage because this is the thing that is being mandated by a lot of unions. We've seen Sean Fain talking about it with regard to the UAW yesterday. And so we have a lot of regulation, a lot of red tape, a lot of these industries that are being hamstrung and prevented from being able to grow and also service American customers. And you know how America is. You know how we are. We not loyal. We're not loyal at all. We don't even believe in supporting the American worker, even if it affects your own cousin, your own brother, your sister, your husband. We don't care about supporting American workers anymore. That's not even a thing. We care more about ourselves than caring about how we can liberate the United States of America. I mean, do you know how important it is from an infrastructure perspective? If we was to ever go to war, God forbid, we need industries to be able to keep up manufacturing. And as someone stated, it's that excess capacity that we were able to use to repurpose a lot of our plants to make some of the warplanes and the tanks and the things like that that we used in other world wars in the past. So we need that capacity. We need to incentivize companies to build America first. We need our plants. We need American workers, and we need to diversify our industries so that we're not just dependent on financing, but we actually make things inside of the United States of America. And it adds more jobs. Now, if people are lazy and don't want to do the jobs, that's a completely different conversation. But here's Trump when he was talking about liberation. I'm going to fast forward it a little bit because he was speaking about how Liberation Day, when Kid Rock was in office, obviously, is going to impact Americans positively.
As well, so I think their money
we don't
goes
share
for
concessions a lot.
No,
those are we try to, but they don't want us. They don't want to share it in the big week.
I'm not sure. So you recently bought a Tesla for White House staff to use, but now there's all these domestic terrorists targeting Teslas. Are the staff scared to drive it?
I don't think so. I haven't heard. They weren't complaining. I did buy one, and I let the staff use it. We have it parked conveniently, and one day we give it to Margot, one day we give it to Chamberlain, give it to Natalie, we give it to everybody around, give it to Dan Scavino, but he's got so much money it doesn't matter. But they love the car, and it's a great car, and it's made here, and it's made in the country. He's got a tremendous plant now in Texas, and he has one in California. Does a lot of his work here, and he's been really unfairly treated, in my opinion.
I drive one.
And
Yeah.
there's this other story. I know it's hypothetical right now, but if you were allowed for some reason to run for a third term, is there a thought that the Democrats could try to run Barack Obama against you
I'd love that.
for his third term?
Boy, I'd love that. That would be a good one. I'd like that. No, people are asking me to run, and there's a whole story about running for a third term. I don't know. I never looked into it. They do say there's a way you can do it, but I don't know about that. But I have not looked into it. I want to do a fantastic job. We have 4 years, just about, almost close to 4 years. Time is flying, but it's still close to 4 years, and we're getting a lot of credit for having done a great job in the first almost 100 days. And we have some big things we're going to be announcing over the next 2 days, and you know very well, Peter, and I think it's going to be something that's going to bring a lot of wealth back to our country, tremendous wealth back to our country.
That's the Liberation Day, baby.
Other countries are understanding it because they've been ripping us for 50 years longer, but they've been ripping us off for years, right from the beginning. And I think this is going to be an amazing, I call it a lot of different names, but it's really, in a sense, it's a rebirth of a country because how we could have afforded to do what we did. We help everybody, and they don't help us. I really, the term I like best probably is the liberation of America. It's the liberation of this country because it's incredible. Look, we have 36 trillion in debt for a reason, and that accumulates over a long period of time. So I think what you're going to be seeing over the next couple of days will be very inspiring to a lot of people. You know, they had a lot of auto plants being built in a certain country. I don't want to mention the country because we get along great with the country, but those plants aren't being built there anymore. They gave them up today and yesterday, day before.
Mexico.
And they're building them all now in the United States. And we have many examples, not only auto plants, chip companies from Taiwan are coming in. The biggest, Mr. Wei, he's big. I said, you are a smart guy, aren't you? I've been reading about him over the years, but He controls a large portion of the chip business, as you know. You don't get smarter. They're going to be investing too.
It's Mexico. It was Mexico. Mexico, and you know how dumb Mexico was? Let me tell you how stupid Mexico was. Mexico was making so much money selling to American consumers and basically allowing for other countries to come and build and assemble their products and then ship it into the United States of America, trying to avoid the tariffs that they were getting, like China. And then Mexico on top of that, and I don't know if they just thought that Biden was just going to win no matter what, or Kamala Harris was going to win. They were staking all of their bets on that. But Mexico then was like, yo, other countries don't also have to just build here. They can also send people here to then get inside of the United States of America and basically run over and overrun their country with illegal migrants. How stupid do you have to be to do that? How stupid do you have to be as a country to already have an advantage, a massive, massive advantage when it comes to all of these companies taking advantage of what you got going on? And so they built this manufacturing base down there in Mexico. And then on top of that, they didn't just build it down there in Mexico. They also said, all right, well, we're going to let a whole bunch of migrants come over into your country. That's most of them not even from Mexico.
With $300 billion, Apple's investing $500 billion. You know, they always built their places in China. Now he's building here. I think because of
India.
You speak to Tim Cook because of the election, but maybe more importantly because of the tariffs. You know, he's got really an obligation to do it. But we have many, many companies that you haven't even heard of. But I think we'll be at $5 trillion very soon. And if you think about this, we've never been anywhere near that. I don't know if we've ever been at $1 trillion.
What do you mean by that?
We're 500. What do I mean by trillion?
5 trillion. What are you referring to, sir?
I think that we're going to be at $5 trillion of investment. I think you're going to have investments very shortly. We're already 3.5, and we have commitments, verbal commitments for a lot more. And numbers like that have never been done in this country. And it's going to get harder. This is in 2 months. It's really in less than 2 months, because since we've really gone out with it. And we have other interesting things happening. But to me, the whole tariff situation, and essentially they've done that to us for many years. So if we're anywhere near
They built their entire manufacturing process.
This could be numbers like the country's never seen. And every time you hear $1 spent, that's another job, because the jobs are coming with it. So auto plants, chip plants, pharmaceuticals, lumber coming in. We have things happening in this country. I'm not sure that they've ever seen it. Steel, you know, we have tariffs on steel. They've been here for a while. Steel and aluminum. Nobody's ever seen anything like we're witnessing now. Nobody's ever seen anything. Most of you agree with that. I mean, it's nothing much you can't agree with. We have things happening in terms of jobs and investment, the likes of which I don't think we've ever seen. If you look at, let's say, $4 to $5 trillion in a period of a month and a half, that's even more than you do with your concerts, which are always sold out, right? Nobody's ever seen numbers. And think of it, where Apple's at $500 billion, as I said, but they always used to spend that money in China. Now they're spending it here. That means they're going to build. Now, they don't have any tariffs. Remember, there are no tariffs if you do your product here, if you build whatever it is in the USA. One of the things we're also trying to get is if you buy a car that was built in the USA, you get a deduction on interest. So if you go out and borrow money to buy a car, if it's built in the USA, never been done before, it's a big deduction for people that really aren't used to deductions, frankly. Because people that buy cars like that are not big into the world of deductions. And now they're going to learn about deductions. So I think it's going to be great. Yeah.
Wait. I didn't know this one. And this is why you got to listen to the full press conference and get into understanding exactly what Trump means on Liberation Day as far as the tariffs and also interest and deduction. So wait a minute. What he's saying is that you can get a tax break by writing off the financing that you've paid on these American-made vehicles, and you could write off the interest that you're paying. So every single month that you make your payment, especially in the early stages of people that finance cars, You can look at how much is going towards interest and how much is going towards principal. And he's saying that you're able to write off the interest? Interesting.
We're going to move ahead with the universal tariff or different individual tariff rates on a whole variety of different.
Well, you're going to see in 2 days, which is maybe tomorrow night or probably Wednesday, you're going to see. And they're reciprocal. So whatever they charge us, we charge them, but we're being nicer than they were. We have a lot of countries, friend and foe. I always say friend and foe, but the friend in many cases is worse than the foe. They took advantage of us. And we are going to be very nice by comparison to what they were. The numbers will be lower than what they've been charging us, and in some cases maybe substantially lower, but we sort of have a world obligation perhaps. But we're going to be very nice. Relatively speaking, we're going to be very kind.
Mr. President, you met with the chairman.
Somebody said that about me the other day. He said, who doesn't know me very well, they said, "You're such a kind person." And I said, "Say that again." They said, "You're a kind person." I said, "I've never heard that before." It was a weird statement. I was kind.
Oh,
I've
my
heard of
God.
words. I don't know,
God
better
bless
not tell
Trump.
you. Know,
Trump
I've heard
ain't
of-
missing no opportunity.
I've been called a lot of things,
Praise
but it's
himself.
sort of a different kind of a word. It's like an old-fashioned word, isn't it?
Mr. President, you met with the chairman of Stellantis today. Did
Yes.
he ask you for a pause on the auto tariffs?
No.
What was that meeting about?
Just about some of the problems they have with the environmental, which we're going to clean up.
Have any of the automakers...
We're going to probably go back to 1920. If you look, we're going to go back probably to a 2020 standard. So we'll have 2020 standard, and that's just a few years ago. Oh, they're making it so difficult all over the world. They're making it. It doesn't mean a damn bit of difference even for the environment. It doesn't matter. They make it impossible for people to build cars. So we're going to be doing much different. 2020 is a strong standard, but they've taken it to a level now that makes it very difficult to build a car. So we're going to be bringing it back to a standard that is a very good environmental standard, but it makes it possible to build a car.
Have you heard any...
Maybe Stellantis will bring back the V8 inside of the Dodge Charger and Challenger. Maybe they'll start throwing that V8, that 6.2 liter, 707 and 717 horsepower, and then when you throw in that red eye, it's 817 horsepower. So they got to do something. They got to do something about that EV. But ladies and gentlemen, Liberation Day will be here, and it's gonna rock out, and the tariffs are supposed to hit today. By the time that you start watching this, Trump is supposedly announcing tariffs on all countries when it comes to them importing their products inside of the United States of America or exporting their products. And we're importing products inside of the United States of America.